10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Gonna flip the bird to this old factory.
All right, welcome to Kickback with Dax on the Country Thunder Network. And today we have a international artist joining me all the way from Canada. This man has, as far as I know, 5 singles. One of his latest singles spent 4 weeks at the top spot on the Country Thunder 20 just recently, and was just taken over by Sandy Facey. But I'm talking about none other than Mr. Shawn McCullough, and I'm going to enter him into the room right now. Mr. Shawn McCullough, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you, Dax?
I'm doing very, very well, sir. Very, very well, considering the situation that we're all living under at the moment. And I suppose that's where well, firstly, before we start with that bad stuff, let's talk about who you are, because obviously a lot of people around the world don't know independent Canadian artists. So tell us all about Shawn McCullough.
Okay, well, I've been doing music since I was a little guy. My parents had a band. It was more of a bluegrass band than country, but my mother played guitar. My father played fiddle, and I grew up in a musical household. So here I am today, and just having fun, making my living, doing what I love. You know?
So obviously, one of your latest singles is called Sun. Now, to me, that has all the indications to be a mainstream hit. It spent 4 weeks at the top spot on the Country Thunder 20. Why are we not seeing that type of movement for you, especially with that song?
I guess part of the problem was, and a lot of indie artists can confirm this, is that we're kind of being that we're in the middle of COVID, you always have to, when you're releasing a single, you have to plan ahead, and pick a date and get all your cards laid out. And I just unfortunately picked a date that landed about a day after the pandemic started. So you know what I mean? And
oh no.
A lot of our terrestrial radio programmers, they were working from home, and it was a bit difficult to upload, I guess, to the system. But I am seeing some good foothold now in Canada across the board, so it's kind of cool. And I mean, it's really awesome having you guys playing my stuff. I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, we're going out to about 50 countries around the world each day, so that's brilliant. Getting your music out there, and you have been on high rotation for the last, I think it's almost 9 weeks now. So so you've been in that chart for about 9 weeks. Yeah. So all right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, COVID. The pandemic has happened. What has it done for you? In essence, obviously, you've lost a lot of your work, and I believe you're now just starting to get that back now at a socially distanced environment. What was it like going through all that?
It was pretty much a downer at first, because last fall, 1st of December, I had my whole year booked ahead for shows, and all of a sudden middle of March comes, and it's like, and so I ended up doing some online concerts and had a virtual tip jar out, and managed to keep myself afloat during that time. And now we're just sort of gradually, here in my area of Canada, we're just gradually working into, I think we're in phase 2 of our reopening. If everything goes well, we'll be back to normal at some point. But what we're doing is social distance patio shows. So what they're doing is I have to be set up 12 feet from anybody on the patio kind of thing, and everybody's seated social distance. But feels really awesome to be back out doing it, because I mean, I was
Yeah, for
looking
sure.
at myself in a camera for you know, 8 or 10 weeks there, you know, trying to do the social or not social distancing, but doing the online concerts. And it's really strange to see yourself. I get distracted, I forget words, you know what I'm saying. But now it's
Yeah,
kind of
for sure.
heartwarming. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously, I did see a couple of your live streams. They are difficult, aren't they? Because you are, you're used to playing to an audience, but you really, when you're doing it virtually, you really don't know who's there, and you're not getting that feedback. Yeah, you might see comments coming in and stuff like that, but you just don't have that warm feedback that you get from a live performance.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so distracting. Sometimes you'll be watching the comments go by, and I have a few buddies that we like to rib each other quite a bit. So I get some inappropriate comments come in from my friends, and it's all in fun, but it really distracts me. I'm like, oh man. But no,
Yep. Oh,
it's been a different for sure. And
yeah.
I find that I actually think that are you there? Are you
Yeah.
still there, bud?
I'm here. I'm here. Yes.
Okay. I thought you were cutting out there, but it's been amazing to see how people have adapted to this whole thing, and how supportive everybody in our circle, our musical circle, has been to each other, because we're usually running different ways and directions all the time, like any full-time musicians, and we never get to see each other. But now it's with all the online concerts, it's pretty cool, you know.
Yeah, for sure. You actually get to jump on and see somebody else's that you wouldn't normally see. For me, it's been a bit of a whirlwind, because, I've sort of been trying to jump onto as many as possible. And, there's all different time zones, and so many artists out there that are doing it. It's like one's doing it and another one's doing it at the same time. It's like, which one do you go to? It's been quite a whirlwind for me. I'm like, and it's like one thing that I mentioned in my first interview this week was that you actually, I don't know whether you did but I know that a lot of artists have. They've actually gone and spent a lot more money to create these virtual platforms. They might have paid for Zoom and it's a monthly fee, or they might have paid for what we're using here, StreamYard, and it's a monthly fee, or they might have bought new audio equipment or new computers and stuff to be able to do all this. So the loss is greater than just losing the live performances, because you've lost all your income, plus you're spending more to try and keep those audiences.
Exactly. And I'm not tacky at all. So I'm actually talking to you from my phone.
Yeah.
I have a laptop, but the sound quality is garbage, like on my laptop. So I do everything from my phone. And
Yep.
I'm just glad you sent me the link, because I wouldn't have known how to do this. But I'm old school, brother. I'm old school. But yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
been a trying time for a lot of people. I know my friend Bree Lawrence in there. She has upgraded and got the mics and the proper things for doing the the live broadcasts and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. I actually see. I think it's her mother that actually votes for you every week
Oh yeah, Cheryl.
on my chart. Yes.
Oh, she's great. I mean, like, she's helps me get everything registered, because I play in Bree's backup band, as well as doing my own thing. So that fills the
Yep.
calendar pretty good. And Cheryl's the kind of the brains behind getting everything registered for, like, satellite stuff. Satellite is a different beast on its own, and
Yeah.
me not being a techie sort of guy, it's yeah.
All right. So Another friend of yours, a dear friend of yours. I believe you've known each other since forever. Jay Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing very well, but he's sort of during this COVID period, he's just released song after song. Like he's released like 4 tracks in the space of the last 2 months.
Yeah, I know.
What the, so I think I have to ask you, what's coming for Shawn McCullough?
Well, I'm hoping to get into the studio this month, and start tracking the next 2. And I'm hoping to release another one by the end of the summer, early fall. I have about 17 songs written to pick from, and I'm very fortunate that the guys I play with all the time, they're great in the studio. And it took it takes some know-how, because I know my first trip into the studio playing guitar. Hold on, we got a motorcycle going by. It's very noisy. My first trip in the studio like 20 years ago to play guitar on somebody else's album was really humbling, because when you get in there, you realize that most of the stuff you do live, you might as well forget about it. And because less is more.
Yep.
When you want to, everything has to kind of mesh together and work together in the mix.
Yep.
I'm very fortunate. The guys are incredible musicians, and it works well that way. We don't have to record in Nashville. We don't have to spend a ton of money, which is good, especially nowadays, right? So, but I'm hoping to have
absolutely
by this fall.
Cool, very good. So let's talk about your chart-topping success. Let's talk about the song "Sun." How did it come about? It's a brilliant song. Every time I hear it, I've got my toes tapping. If you've watched my videos, you'll see me singing along with it or playing the drums, air drums. It's just a brilliant track. So I think it deserves more recognition than it's getting, even from my little radio station. I believe it deserves a lot bigger recognition. It's certainly should be on the Canadian country charts by now. It's that good.
Thank you very much. It came to be actually. It's kind of funny. We have a group of folks around my little small town of Westport here. It's about a town of about 700 people. And one year there was 32 of us went on a trip to Cuba. And then I'd written a song. That might actually be my next one. But the Sun, I started writing it. I always take a notepad when I go on vacation. We were in Dominican Republic, and I just looking around. I'm like, sun, sand, and I'm like, margaritas. I just wrote that down. When I came home, it just kind of poured out. Pun intended, kind of poured out. But and the process that, I mean, I wouldn't call myself one of those guys can write a song every day. It has to come to me. And that one was easy to do for whatever reason. And I wanted it to be, something that, people will tap their toes and be able to sing along to. Because I mean, you can get in the business, you can get too deep where people don't want to really, they don't get it unless they're really listening. They want to have that beat and fun, easy to learn lyrics as well. So,
the one lyric that I always struggle with is "Watch the waves of the world go by."
I know. I was thinking about that.
It's just such a quick succession of, as the day is done. I'm like, oh, what? Watch the waves of the world go by as the day is done. I'm like, well, what?
Oh man, I did notice that. Actually, I was playing it, and I'm like, you know what? I better not have 4 or 5 beer into me when I go to sing that one, because it might come out slurred.
Yeah, that's right. I really like that breakdown where you've like the breakdown where you've got
the monotone or baritone talking.
Yeah, where it's well, I'm up every morning when the rooster crows, break 'em out back till the cows
That's
come
right.
home. I, I love it. I love
I
it.
called in a good buddy of mine to do that with me. Like I did the main vocal on that. And I got a buddy, Billy Allen, who lives not too far away, and he's just getting his feet wet as a young singer, and he's got this beautiful baritone voice. I'm like, can you talk that part under my vocal and let's see
Yeah,
how it
yep,
sounds? And it was incredible. It was like he nailed it. Like it's so cool.
yeah, yeah. It's the whole production of the song is really well put together, and I mean,
Thank you.
when I'm listening to the major, when I'm listening to the number one that's this week, Tim Hicks's "No Truck" song, that's number
Oh
one
yeah.
on the charts this week in Canada. When I listen to that, I mean, I love that song. I rock out to that song every week. But when I listen to that song and I listen to your song, I think they're on par with each other.
Mm.
I mean, obviously they're worlds apart, different, but they're on par with each other as far as the feel of the song, the success of the song, and I think that you should be getting that type of success. You should be up
Well,
there
I
with
hope
Tim Hicks.
I appreciate that. And I am seeing some small gains over the last couple of singles, and I think I've got the right producer, I've got the right group of guys, and we're self-producing as well.
Yep.
And the idea is, I mean, as you know, a lot of the bigger name artists are backed by labels, so they have infinite funds to spend all the time they need in the studio. And I just lucked
Yep.
out to have guys that all think alike, where which is scary sometimes, but we all have share a brain, and we're not afraid to take some constructive criticism from each other. And
Mm.
that took for me that took 30 years to find that group of guys that we're all best friends. We get done a gig, and it might be 3 o'clock in the morning. We'll stand around and have a pint or two, and just talk about anything but music. You know what I mean? We're just good friends, and
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
makes
That's good.
it part of the success.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gathering that the next single is going to be one up on Sun.
I'm hoping. I hope.
Next level. I mean, like here I am. I'll give you an example. All right. Obviously, my radio station's name is Country Thunder,
Mhm.
and then when I heard the Washboard Union, their song Country Thunder, I went, "That's my theme song. That's my theme song," and I was rocking out to it. I was like,
It's a
"That's
great
brilliant!"
tune.
And we actually contacted them about about it becoming the theme song, and they obviously, because they're a label, they were like, we have to speak to our label, and then the label wanted to charge us for the song, so it was like, nah, forget it.
We'll write you a new
Because
one, buddy.
radio doesn't make money either. Like that's
I know.
I'm in the same boat as you guys. As I'm trying to flog merch off on my website. We've got merch for the Country Thunder. We haven't sold a
Oh
bit
yeah.
of it at all, so we're not making any money doing what we do. Um,
Yeah.
and
You gotta love
because
what
no
you're
one's
doing,
got
buddy.
money.
Yeah.
That's right. We don't, and I do. Um, but then the new single came out, Doc Rock, and I'm like,
Oh yeah. I just heard
nah,
that the other day.
nah, it's not as good. It's nowhere near as good. It's got the same groove, but it's just Country Thunder was like, that's brilliant. But Doc Rock was just
Mhm.
like, I can
Yeah.
give or take that song.
Yeah. I just heard it the other day, and I'm not a mainstream guy. I would rather listen to the B-side stuff myself, and I guess
Yep,
that's
yep,
maybe been a bit of a crutch for me, but I some of my favorite songwriters like Steve Earle, Towns Van Zandt, you name it, Chris Christopherson. I'm more of a deep thinker, and I guess that's been the adjustment I've had to make to get songs that are radio friendly. And I know one program
yeah,
director in particular talked to Bree Lawrence and I and Wade Foster, the fiddle player in our band. I got a bee buzzing around me here.
Yeah, I saw that.
We wrote a couple of tunes together, and she said, you know, you guys are writing great songs. Don't be afraid to dumb them down for radio. And I didn't know how to take that. I'm like, you can still be, you know, you can still be clever. You just got to place your lyrics right, you know, and have them flow. You know, and that's something I'm learning as each, you know, single goes by, right?
Yeah. And I have noticed a progression of, you know, I have before we did this, I actually sat down and listened to all your other singles. It's like and you actually do see the progression that's growing, which is fantastic. So I'm hoping for big things for the next track, and I wish you all the best, and I tell you what, I reckon we're going to be friends forever. I mean, you and Jay have just about made me feel like I want to move to Canada.
You should, man. Come on over. I'll put you up there. I'll put you up till you get your house. Man, we really appreciate everything you're doing for us indie artists. Thank you so much.
No problem.
It's really been a really nice boost to our, you know, it's brought some happiness in these trying times. So
cool, absolutely. That's what we're here for. So, you know, indie all day, every day. Obviously, when you wake up, it's the mainstream stuff on my radio station, so you have to wait until nighttime to actually hear the indie stuff. But that probably works for you. You know, you get to hear the indie stuff. Yeah.
All your and I've checked out all of your indie artists, and man, we're in some good company. They're awesome, amazing.
You know, all the Australians, obviously, because I'm Australian, we've got a stack more Australian artists than we have other artists, and just about, I would say, 95% of the artists that we play, the Australian artists we play, are all independent. Probably more, probably 97%. Yeah. So it's that's the culture in Australia. There's not many people that go and get the record deals in Australia. It's all independent artists. Yeah. So yeah.
Like you guys, I mean, Keith Urban was Australian or is Australian, and I'm not sure, but I know he was pretty big in Australia before he moved to the States.
He won. In 1994 he won Star Maker, and he recorded an album in Australia. That album wasn't that successful. They didn't take to it because Keith Urban's sort of left of center when it comes to country. He's always been the sort of left of center. And then he obviously. Then he moved to Nashville, and he basically had a hard time trying to get ahead in Nashville as well. Basically, the record company turned around to him and said, "Look, put a band together, do something with a band, and if that's successful, then we'll talk about doing a solo thing." So he put the Ranch together, and that was the most successful. I think still to this day, it's the most successful album he's had. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite songs was "Walking the Country." That was a great tune, great chicken picking in it, and you know, I mean, and we've watched him change gradually over his career as well, from one style to another style, and you know,
he certainly bends the barriers of what country music is. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the album Fuse was probably one of his best albums. Like, I mean, I like the earlier stuff. Obviously, I like the Ranch stuff. I like Golden Road. That album was just brilliant. But then when he started going into the, I'm going to experiment and, you know, bring hip hop into it and bring this and bring that into it. I guess Fuse was the one that I really liked.
Yeah.
So let's stop talking about Keith Urban. My goodness, he's from New Zealand.
Is he?
He was.
I thought he was from Australia.
He was born in New Zealand. He moved to Australia when he was 6 years old. So yes,
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
He's an Australian as far as we're concerned. Of course, we'll keep him.
All right. Attaboy.
But he was born in New Zealand. Same as Morgan Evans. Morgan Evans is Australian. We keep him. But we keep a lot of the new. We keep a lot of the New Zealanders. They come over and we say, "All right, you're ours now. That's it." Jodie Doreen has just brought out a new album, but she's signed to an Australian label. She's from New Zealand, so there's a lot of them that do it. All right. Anyway, we've been on this for 25 minutes. That should be enough time for us. Thank you very much for talking to us today. It's been a pleasure, and I'm glad that we've actually got to see each other face to face for the first time.
My pleasure, my friend, and thank you for
no worries.
Indies.
Anytime, brother. Anytime, and I'm looking forward to hearing your new songs.
All right, buddy. I'll get them to you. Thank you.
Excellent. No worries. All right. That was Shawn McCullough and his brilliant song, Sun, is obviously on the Country Thunder Network. It is still in the charts. It has been in the charts for about 8 weeks. And so continue voting for him. It's a brilliant song. Until next time, this is DJ Dax out. You've been watching Kickback with Dax from the Country Thunder Network HQ. Bye for now.